What's up, YouTube fam? Welcome back to the channel. There's no way to put it right now. My account is getting absolutely smoked, and it's because obviously we are heavily invested into both TQQQ and IBIT. Now, what are those two investments? TQQQ is a 3x leverage version of the NASDAQ, and IBIT is a ticker symbol that is meant to track Bitcoin. And the reason why we like IBIT is because IBIT is, again, just like Bitcoin, but we're able to sell calls and sell puts and buy leaps. You know, we are options traders, options sellers, and ultimately we get to use Bitcoin to trade options. That's why we love IBIT. Now, with that being said, the Bitcoin chart is absolutely getting beat up right now, and there's no nice way to say anything about this, right? When you look at this chart, it's very obvious what is going on here, right? You can pull up something like a Fibonacci retracement, and you know, it didn't even or barely even made it to the high. I guess if you take this high, then you can say it perfectly lined up, right? And I don't really trade fibs, but the point is when you look at the chart, you can definitely draw out supply zones. You know, you can draw out Fibonacci's, and that's kind of how the market goes, right? When you're a trader, you understand that the market moves in supply and demand, and when it's a bull market, you know, it'll move in the demand zones, and when it's a bear market, it'll hold supply zones. Now, what makes Bitcoin so tricky to trade is obviously, as you see here, even when it is bullish, it'll still take out demand until the very last demand is taken out. And then guess what? It creates new demand, and that's when the high runs. Now, obviously, in this case, it's the same thing, right? We like to simplify technical analysis on this channel. That's how we, you know, handle the markets, because ultimately I like to invest in things that I believe are going to go up in the long term, sell options, collect premium, and just keep being invested. Because for me, you know, I've gotten burnt the worst trying to time Bitcoin. I've lost tons of money. Now, obviously, yes, there's been times where I've timed Bitcoin very well, but ultimately trying to time the market is just not what I believe is worth my time, my energy, right? I've seen the best investments and the best investors do the best from having the longest term horizon. And that's why selling options to me makes the most sense, because I'm selling calls, which is allowing me to collect profit while the market continues to crash, right? Like this position right here was down $400 a week ago when the market was shooting up. Now I assume by Monday, it'll virtually be, you know, almost 100% profitable, and I'll probably end up closing it early. So for me, I like selling calls because selling calls allows me to profit on the downside, and selling puts allows you to have a better entry on the downside, while also profiting if the puts you buy, you know, or sorry, sell are so far out. And, you know, moments like this where this put that I sold is still up money despite how badly the market has been getting beaten up, which just goes to show, right? When you sell, or sorry, when you buy an out of the money option that is deep away, like you're getting crushed by theta every day, where when you sell one, you know, you see that crush, and ultimately you'll notice how in a market like right now, you're still up money, which means someone who bought a put, you know, has literally watched all of this happen and is still down. I couldn't imagine that being me. So with that being said, right, obviously what we see here is, you know, the same way that demand holds in a bull market is the same way that supply holds in a bear market. And right now the supply held. Now, do I know when that's going to end? No, but here's what I will say is when you look at the Bitcoin CME futures chart, you'll see that it closed at 84,000, which means it being at 82 right now is essentially going to open some sort of gap on the futures chart. Let's pull that back up. So again, the CME futures chart is still here, which means when it opens, it'll be down to here, right? And ultimately, these gaps always fill. So, you know, it's not a bad thing. I always like to see the market not go up on weekends. Obviously, when you look at this, it's the same exact thing. You know, when you see a gap like this, it always has to fill, right? I saw this gap in November. I've been talking about it on this channel since November, and here we are filling it. Now, there will be a gap going into Monday if the market continues like this, or it'll bounce and go back to 84 by tomorrow. There's no way to know. But with that being said, right now, supply held. I would not be surprised if we did continue to come down before heading back up, but ultimately, I don't try to time the market. I'll just continue to sell calls, buy leaps as the market goes up and down, and just take it from there, right? When I look at the positions I have open, you know, I have nothing to really stress about. If anything, yes, these leaps, but they're also 2 years away. Obviously, I do have this one option, where is it, that expires in a couple weeks. So if there's one position I am a little stressed, it would probably be this one, which was also up 100%. Now, I didn't take profit because my plan was to hold till expiration, and ultimately, I don't have any regrets regarding it. It's just how I trade. I have all of these covered calls that I've sold. I have tons of shares, and I'll just continue to do it, right, until the market, you know, recovers. Obviously, with these leaps, it's the same thing. You know, I have this UPRO leap right here, and I have covered call that I sold against it. So, For me, my strategy will stay the same. When the market shoots back up, my plan will be to just roll the covered calls higher so I don't get assigned for a loss and just take it from there. So do I think Bitcoin's going to zero? Absolutely not. You know, in the end of the day, I like seeing the market crash on weekends because the gaps always fill, and I anticipate that going into the week, the Bitcoin gap will fill, or we'll continue, we'll sweep this low, and then we'll come back and fill it. Regardless, to be long-term bearish to me doesn't make sense. In the short term, yes, things look ugly, things are just volatile, and ultimately, the way it's gone down is the same way it'll most likely go back up. So hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you learned a lot. I try to be 100% transparent. You know, my account's taking a beating, and I'm not going to sit here and stop showing the account now. I'd rather keep it real and honest with you guys, unlike majority of the people on this app. So if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed transparency, make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.